but walk free on the land. I believe that religion acts as an anchor for some of us in our lives. It contains and controls and dominates us as it relates to our thought process. Mm-hmm. And so I think that when you look at our ancestors, I'm just going to give you two concepts just to let you know when we talk about the ancestors, who we talk about. If we should say that a generation is 25 years long, every 25 years is a new generation. And if I were to take you back 20 generations, you have 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, 16 great-great-grandparents, okay? If I took you back 20 of those generations, through your direct ancestors and their ancestors, the question is, how many people dwell in you that allow you to sit here right now? And that number is 1,048,576 human beings live inside of you right now over the past 500 years, who have lived and brought you into existence. Think about that number. 500 years ago, it started a process of 1,048,576 human beings dwell in each and every one of you. But let me drop the other shoe, because I only took you back 500 years. How many live in you if I took you back 5 million years? How many people make you up? That's right. You think you're alone? Do you know how many stories of happiness and sadness and celebration and joy and leaders and doctors and nurses live inside of you? And they want to talk to you. They see where you're going. Through your eyes, your ancestors see the world. All you got to do is turn those eyes inward and look to them to support what it is. People say, like, how do you pray? Well, I talk to myself. That's how I pray. Because I am the creator having a human experience, and so is each and every one of you. So when you talk to yourself, those are your ancestors talking to you, trying to guide you through a certain way, and they're telling you certain things. So there's a whole bunch of folk that's inside of you that is just waiting for you to activate with them. Now, that's how many people came into existence in order to bring you into existence. Now let me give you the other side that gives you your divine purpose in life, because now I'm going to tell you how many people did not come into existence in order to bring you into existence, that sidestepped and said, no, this is Brother Caleb's time to come into existence. This is Sister Sid's time to come into existence. Do you know how many billions of sperm cells were in your father? And how many billions of eggs were in your mother? But it came a divine time that only one egg and one spermatozoon would fertilize to bring you into existence. Think of all those millions of sperm cells that hovered over your mother's egg that you ain't in. But that one. Think of all of the eggs that your mother had that she processed to go through her fallopian tube in order to become fertilized by you. There was billions of choices, yet there was just that one. There was billions of sperm cells, but there was just that one. Not only did billions of people bring you into existence, but billions of people sidestepped in order for you to come into existence the day you were conceived. That's ancestral intelligence. That's the computer of your body, of your mind, of your existence. That is a cosmic computer. So everybody getting all caught up in artificial intelligence, that's a good thing. Artificial intelligence is a good thing. Money is too, as it relates to money, okay? Money ain't bad. It's according to what you do with it that makes it good or bad. You know, I mean, if you support live water, if you support Black Wall Street, if you support 3 Milli Productions, if you support Brother Kaba, your money's doing good things. It's emancipating and liberating you. But if you put it in other places, that may not be the best place to put it. The same thing with so-called artificial intelligence. I mean, what I've seen done in artificial intelligence is something else. They're building a Black Panther museum where they're literally bringing Huey Newton into the room with you. In other areas of the museum, they're bringing people, and they because of the history of what they know about that individual can talk to you and tell you about. You can go to Tuskegee at the museum there, and they'll talk to you. Booker T. Washington will come and tell you what he did in order to create Tuskegee, and you'll be looking right at him. Didn't they do that with Tupac?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a great thing. But now when you take advantage of it and you bring people down and you show them in a negative light, now that's a whole nother thing. Artificial intelligence is neither good nor bad. It's how you use it that determines what it's going to be. That's the way it is in life. Most things in life are not good or bad. This is what Ma'at teaches us. Ma'at, which is the patron, the feminine principle of truth and justice, teaches us. It's not what it is that's bad or good. It's what you do with it. It's whether you let Asar do something with it, which is good, or you let Satan do something which is not good. So it's up to us to make these choices. You got to talk to your ancestors. And when you talk to yourself, I mean, I had a conversation this morning with a whole bunch of my ancestors. When I was looking in the mirror, I was brushing my teeth. I was looking at God. I was talking to God. I was looking at me because I am God, having a human experience, and I know it. See, there are 3 levels. In humanity, and this comes from John G. Jackson, his book, Introduction to African Civilization. He talks about 3 levels of the human family coming up out of who they are. There is the level of the savage, the barbarian, and there is the civilized, okay? And these are the 3 different entities. In the very beginning, as savages, we were like on an animalistic stage, okay? None of these words are bad, by the way, because I know we think of savage as bad, barbarian is bad. We're not dealing with those. I'm taking those words and I'm looking at the human family as the mind and the intellect developed. The savage was the one that had an instinct, that did things through instinct, lived through instinct, knew when it was time to reproduce, knew when it was time to eat, knew when it was time to go to bed. Nature was the one that directed them and told them what to do. At some point in time, as they had a collected experience of learning and growing, the savage became the barbarian. And in the barbarian came a level of doing things that nature told you to do, but doing things that you told yourself to do. You were gaining the power to say no to nature. Then came the point where you became civilized, where you got instinctive intuition, where what you did because you knew nature and nature directed you, but you as a human being of a higher level of consciousness allowed nature to take over, and you took nature to the next level, the higher level of which you were born to do. It was a phenomenal way of doing what you did. As a savage, our philosophy dealt with superstition. We looked at things through superstition. A lot of what we did through superstition. You know, we say, don't go under a ladder, okay? Well, the reason why you don't go under a ladder, because you may hit it and the person will fall. There's no real superstition behind that. There's just a law that says, don't put yourself or someone in a ladder in a dangerous position. They say if you break a mirror, you'll have 7 years bad luck. Okay, no, you don't have 7 years bad luck, but mirrors were so scarce at a certain time. If you broke a mirror, then you could never see the reflection of yourself, so they were considered very special. They wanted you to possess it, but to do that, you had to handle it with great care. But that was superstition. The laws of nature came to you through ways in which they would make you do what you're supposed to do because you're afraid not to do it. And then as the barbarian, you went from superstition to organized superstition, which was religion. And so a lot of what you did through codification of laws and rules of nature, and you lived by those laws and rules of nature. That's the barbarian. But then as that barbarian developed himself philosophically, they began to look up and, like, for instance, the barbarian would look up at the sun and would worship the sun as the sun. But when they went from barbarian to civilized, you looked up at the sun and you realized the properties of the sun. You came to realize that the sun was the reason for all life on earth. You came to realize that all plants and all animals reacted to nature. The other day was the day of resurrection. Everybody talking about, don't look at the sun during the solar eclipse. That was resurrection. The sun was born. And then all of a sudden the moon came across and the sun died. Everything got dark. And then the moon passed by and the sun came back. The sun was resurrected. That was an astronomical story. And that is embedded in the stories of Africa. We're going to Kemet from June 16 to June 26. We're going specifically so we can be in the temple of Edfu on June 20th. June 20th, that Edfu was built specifically for the summer solstice. We want to be in that temple on the 20th in order to honor through our ancestral understanding the summer solstice, which means the sun stands still. Right now, you notice the spring equinox, days and nights are equal, 12 and 12, 12 hours a day, 12 hours of night. Now, from now until the summer solstice, every day is going to get longer, okay? And then when you get to the solstice, it's going to stand still, and then every day is going to start to get shorter, and you'll have more days of darkness than light. But right now, from now until June 20th, on June 20th, all animals, they just go in adoration of the sun. All of the plants aim all of their energy up towards, they all lean towards the sun on June 20th. Everything is an adoration of the sun because that's the longest day on our earth. And so our ancestors began to realize this happening. They weren't doing it because they were superstitious, or they weren't doing it for religious reasons. They were doing it because of scientific reasons. And when they did it for scientific reasons, that's when they were able to become civilized enough to understand that spirituality is unseen science and science is seen spirituality. And it became a science. People win awards. I see all these brothers and sisters winning awards. Grammy Award, Oscar Award, okay? And most of them are black. Much respect. Congratulations on all you did. But they all look up and say, thank God for this. Why are you looking up there? God didn't win that award. You did. The actor in you, the God in you that gave you that divine gift of acting or singing, that's who won the award. But see, the imposter syndrome, we're always looking outside. We are so humble that we always look outside because we can't be that great. We got to give all glory to God. But God is within you. Your holy book said it. God said that he made you in his image and likeness. That's why I trip over the word his. Because a whole bunch of women look in the mirror too, so what's that?
That's right.
So God, in order for there to be a God, there must be a goddess. Ain't no such thing as a male God only. Just doesn't exist. Just the fact that each and every one of us is half man, half woman. Mm-hmm. It was just our daddy's chromosome that decided that I would become a man and that his X chromosome made my sister a woman. So we're all half man and half woman, the perfect balance of ma'at. But we are gender in the sense that that is how we came into the world. It's just the way it is. Yeah. And so it's science. And so with our families, we just have to have regard and respect for them. And love them, respect them, continue to go to all the dinners, let them speak, because that's what they live. Yeah. Because other than that, we're just going to tear ourselves apart over a contaminated story that someone else told us. And we're going to lose the most precious thing we have, which is our family, because we're fighting over something that is no reason to fight. Let's come together and work this out together. And let me show you the greatness of knowing your history and your culture. Allow me, permit me, Grandma, to continue to love you, but I hope that you love me enough to let me be who I am, because let me show you by example. I'm the same person I would have been if I went to church with you on Sunday. I just ain't gonna go to church with you on Sunday, but I'm still gonna love you. I'm still gonna come to eat and to enjoy you and to laugh with you. Just understand, I don't think that way. But I respect your way of thinking because I understand why you think that way. We've been through a lot, family. A lot of pain, a lot of struggle. But through that, we're still here. And it's our families. If it wasn't for Grandma, we wouldn't be here. Right. If it wasn't for Mama, we wouldn't be here. So that with that respect, that regard, and that love, we still can always do what we're doing, but at the same time, stay true to what we believe in and respect what they believe in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Passing the torch, right, is so important because now I'll see older people saying, young people are just wild, we're messing things up, we're not grateful, and, younger people are mad towards our grandparents, right, of saying, y'all don't understand us, y'all don't get us. How do we properly try to bridge that gap?
I think that, from my own perspective, because I am where I am right now, and because I've been around young people,
right.
I'll give you an example. I have up on my site conversations I've had on the word nigger. Okay, and I know that for my generation and generations before, that word nigger, we watched people die with that word. Right. We watched people suffer. We watched fire hoses being put on our people, blasting their clothes off because of the ferocity of the water that's coming out of that hose. The same firemen that would come to put out our house took off our clothes with the same fire hose. The police, the Ku Klux Klan, we heard that word. But we don't really know the origin of that word. And so therefore we think that nigger is a bad word. Nigger is not a bad word. Nigger is a word, and the way I introduce it, because I realize that people may not understand it from certain perspectives, so I use the concept of this military person that was impacted by this woman by the name of Helene Blavatsky. And Helene Blavatsky was a Russian woman that went to the East, went to Tibet and studied the Eastern systems. And she came back to Europe and she brought a lot of the symbols with her back. And this military person took this symbol and emblazoned it on everything that he could come in contact with, flags, on clothes, and on buildings, on everything. And out of that, he then took a people and he treated them horribly. He created great pain for them, for that. And everywhere that those individuals that were being oppressed looked, they saw that symbol. That symbol that he took was a very sacred symbol in Buddhism, and it came from Africa. It represented balance. If you go and if you round it out, it becomes the yin, the yang. You can take that symbol and understand that it represents an elliptical galaxy. That symbol represents all things that come into fruition through divine order. It's a beautiful word. It's a beautiful concept, and it's a beautiful symbol. But when that evil man took that symbol and put it on a flag and put it on the country, every time that person that was being persecuted looked at that symbol, it brought pain to them. It brought a horrific experience to them. So what was once a good symbol became a bad symbol. And I'm talking about Adolf Hitler. And I'm talking about the swastika. Yeah. And the swastika represents, it means black mark. Swastika. Swastika. It means black mark. So if I were to go into a room with peoples of Jewish faith and draw that symbol on the board, they would have a heart attack. They wouldn't even know what I'm about to do. But they would have, because that symbol brings back that feeling, that pain, that suffering of that symbol and what it represents. Even though it's a beautiful symbol in its origin, a dirty man took a beautiful symbol and dirtied it. Okay? That's how I introduced the word nigger. Because nigger is a good word. It means God. negus negusti, Angola, Nigeria. That inger, it's the sound. You see, the Indo-European people are very, I call them superficial sapiens. They interpret everything on a superficial level. They only see things superficially. They don't go deep. They can't go deep because they were never around when it was deep. They only got it when it was surface. And so they took this this concept of language and they created, well, symbols were already created, but they took the symbols and they got caught up in the symbols as opposed to the sounds. The sound is what you have to get to in language, because when we make sound, even black folk, you know we make sound, you know? You see? Now all y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, some of my shoulder get involved. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. We make sound. Whoa, that's a sound. We all know what that is. Okay, so it's the sound that the original humans got involved in. Inger is the sound that you got to get involved in. Inger, when it phonetically is presented, inger becomes nigr, negus, negusti, inger, neter, because the T and the G can be interchanged in language. So that what's happening is that this word nigger, when the Romans came and asked them who they were, they said, I am inger. I am negus negusti, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. It was a good word. And then the Romans didn't have that word in their vocabulary, so they put it into their vocabulary. And then when Vulgar Latin then branched off into French and Italian and Romanian and Spanish, and the Spaniards came to Africa, impacted by the Moors, and brought black folk to America, they called them Inger or Negros. And Negros was anglicized to nigger. And then nigger became a social status. They used to have in white schools down south, before they had the dunce cap, they had a nigger chair. Wow. And that if you acted up, they told you sit in the nigger chair. This is how deep it gets. So nigger became a social status. It became a place that you did not want to be, and they put it on black folk because we were the ones that were enslaved, and we were the ones that they were trying to demoralize as a human people. And so nigger is a word that Dick Gregory named one of his books in the 70s, because he said, I want to use that word so much it's not going to hurt us no more. Because, you know, there is a derogatory term for every cultural group. Whether you be Italian, Irish, there's Jewish terms. The word slave comes from Europe, Slovakia, You notice during Ukraine, what do you hear them keep saying? You keep the Slava, glory to Slava forever, because that's where the word slave came from. Yugoslavia, they were the first slaves. So slave is not our word. It's their word. But the idea is that when people can take something very beautiful, and how they treat that beauty can become very ugly to other people. And so you walk into a room and you say, yo, nigga, I love that nigga. That's a good looking nigga right there, okay? The older generation gonna have some situation with you when they listen to the music. When I was teaching college, I told them this story in class one day. And the alphas asked me, we need you to come and do a class on this, but not in class, but do it like we're going to create a program and you're going to come. And I said, sure, I'll come. And then the next year they said, oh, we got to do this again. And I did it again. That program has now become what they call Nigger day.
Wow.
Okay? And the first thing that I tell them, I say, look, I'm not telling you to use that word. I'm not telling you not to use that word. I'm telling you, know the history of the word. And know that that word was what your grandmothers and your great-grandmothers and your parents died hearing as they were dying. That word was used to demoralize us, to insult us, to make us feel less than. So when the elders don't like that word, understand why they don't like it. And then to the elders, I try to get them to understand the meaning of the word, know the history of the word,
Right.
so that you don't get caught up in it. And so in so many ways, going back to what you're asking me, Brother Caleb, is the fact that we have been brought through generations.
Right.
I think that one of my advantages that I think that I have is the fact that I've been around children throughout all of this transformation of these days. Mm-hmm. From the days that when I was young and that word was used, moving through to become a teacher in South Central Bronx where that word is used, through college the word is used, growing up through, when I first started teaching in 1979, the number one song on the radio was Rapper's Delight. Okay? The very beginnings of hip hop and rap music on radio. I was there. Okay? And so my experiences with this word and what it represents has always been to know the history of the word and then decide if you want to use it. And if you're around adults, you have to understand if you use that word, they're not going to like it. And there's a reason. Here's why they don't like it. And then if you're among your own, you know, there's a different way that you take that word, because it's all about intention. Okay? And see, you know, people of European descent say, well, you use it, can I use it? I say, no, you can't use it. Some of the funniest jokes I've ever heard told about Jewish people have been told by other Jews. But if I told that joke, people would have a problem with me. I've heard of funny jokes told about Italians. But if I told that joke, nobody would like that joke. White people can't use the word nigger. Black people can. Because the way in which you use the word towards a black person is very much like those who enslaved us. You don't have a right to use that word. And just because you hear us use that word don't mean you can use that word, no more than just because I heard a Jewish person tell a funny Jewish joke, I can't tell that joke, and I wouldn't tell that joke because I know it wouldn't be appreciated. So if you want to be appreciated, don't use that word, black people. You don't have a right to use that word. That's how I explain it. But that goes with everything else that's going on between us as a people. Because when Dick Gregory wrote that book and he called it nigger, he was trying to get it to where the young people got the word now because it don't hurt them. They say, yo, nigga, come on over here, man. I want to talk to you. Okay? When they say that, they don't mean harm. They're not talking about enslaving. That's the term. Just like back in the day in Ethiopia, they would say, you're my nigger. You're my leader. You're my spiritual leader. The same way they would say it. Can you imagine that? Yeah. Looking at ancient people in Ethiopia, they're saying, nigger. Imagine that. You know, but that's real. That's very real to what we're experiencing as a people. But because a dirty group of people did dirty things with that beautiful word, it has now come to be dirty on us. But now that dirt is sliding off because our young people don't see it like that anymore. Yeah. And so the elders need to understand that. Because at one time that word meant something real nice. Just like the swastika was all over Buddhism. It was all over Asia. But now if you put that up, that don't mean the same thing anymore. Because a dirty person did a dirty thing with a beautiful symbol.